within esotericism, occultism, or what we like to call it today, spirituality. I don't like calling it spirituality because it's not spirituality. I teach human consciousness. I teach the science of you and your consciousness alone and your being. And in order to fully understand you and this world around you, you must understand this number one principle of as above, so below. There is many misconceptions of this, and there is many simple teachings of this. But I'm going to break it down today from the most simplest to the most complex, and you will see the connections between all things. This is the most important lesson you could ever learn, and I'm going to teach it you today. So what you must understand is with the term as above, so below, it applies with everything you see in this world and about yourself. We have something called the macro, which means the bigger scale. On the bigger scale, we have the whole earth. If we look down from the sky on top of rivers, this is what we see. We see this tree pattern. Then on a smaller scale, we see trees have the same pattern. Then we look even closer. We're going smaller and smaller into the leaves of the tree. We see the same pattern. Then we go even more micro into the human brain and look at the human brain cells, and we see the same pattern. This is proof this is a fractal universe, and everything is in the micro is reflected in the macro. As above, so below. As within, so without. On the macro is a reflection of the micro. So now that you understand this, we can go a bit further. A yearly cycle of spring, summer, fall, winter is a macro. A micro is a daily cycle. So a day is a mini year. The summer is the midday. Autumn is the evening. Night is the winter. And spring is the morning. This is a macro, a reflection. We have a miniature cycle of the zodiac every single day. And this cycle is also reflecting the cycle of life and death. We live, we are born, which is the spring. We live, which is the summer. We then age, which is the autumn. And then we die, which is the winter. And then we are reborn again. This is the cycle of life and death. And you do this every single day. You see, death is a macrocosm of sleep. This is why we say sleep is the cousin of death. Because you die every single night. You do this process of life and death every single day. As above, so below. What's in the micro is in the macro. So when you go to sleep, you are essentially dying. And then in the morning when you wake up, you are then born again. This is a fractal cycle that we live in. Everything in this whole world is fractal. Everything applies to as above, so below. We have the sun, we have the moon, we have the day, we have the night. We have the life, we have the death. We have the conscious, we have sleep. As above, so below. We have the conscious mind. Because now we're diving into as within, so without. As above, so below more refers to the external world. As within, so without is referring to your inner world and the outer world. What you must understand is about yourself. You exist in two realms. You're an individual. The dual nature of you. You exist in two realms at once. You have an inner world of your thought, emotion. This is the inner world that no one else can see but yourself. And you have an outer world with a physical body which everyone can see. So you exist in two worlds. You have the inner voice, you have the outer physical voice, which I'm speaking to you with now. But I also have an inner voice, which no one can hear, only but me. So you exist in the light and you exist in the darkness. The sun represents your external self, your physical, conscious mind. The moon represents your shadow self, the inner self, the psyche self, the spirit self. There is an as above, so below. The sun is within you. The moon is within you. Everything is within you. Now that you understand as above, so below, what is your body? Your body is a miniature earth. Let me repeat, your body is an earth. Your body is the earth. Okay? Because like I say many times in all of my videos, you are not in the world. The world is you. You are the universe. Your brain is a computer creating this reality. What you see with your eyes is produced in the back of the brain called the visual cortex. You don't look into the world, the brain produces the world. The body produces the world. When you touch something, you're not actually touching something. This is the electrical nervous system. When you touch something, what you feel is actually electrical signals on your nervous system reporting back to your brain. Therefore, when this body dies, you leave the earth because this body is the earth. Okay? As above, so below. You have the mental plane, the astral plane, the etheric plane, and the physical plane. This is essential for understanding reality and the teaching of as above, so below. Everything in this material plane began in the thinking mind. For example, the microphone I'm speaking into, the phone you're watching this video off, or the laptop or iPad. Where did this begin? It didn't begin in the factory. The first ever place this item begun was in the mind of an individual. The invisible realms of mind is where all physical things and physical items begun. Essentially, this physical plane is the effect of the thinking mind. This world is the world of effect. It's the world of outcomes. When you see something, it is already manifest. It is already being manifested. It is an effect. And in the effect of the cause, which is the thinking mind. Therefore, the mind creates thoughts, which is the mental plane. Then after thoughts creates imagination, which is the astral plane. These two are spiritual. They are non-physical. So spirit kind of means non-physical. Then you have the physical planes, the etheric and the physical plane. As above, so below. What happens in the mind is manifest on the physical plane. Like I said, the phone that you are holding, it was a thought, and then it brought down into a physical reality. As above, so below. You change the mind, you change your reality. Your environment, the word environment has ment in it because your environment is mental. So now that you understand this, so what is the world around you? The world around you was created by the mind of God. It was manifested through God's thought. So you are living in the mind of God. You are a thought in the mind of God. God thought you into existence. But like I said, we are all fractals. Everything is fractal. If God exists, this means that you are God, as above, so below. God created you through the thinking mind, and he gave you a thinking mind. So God created the macrocosm. God created the macro, the whole world. He designed the whole world, the sun, the stars, the moving. He designed this. But then he gave you the thinking mind to design your own life and create your own life in his world. You are a microcosm of God's macrocosm. Just like God thought you into existence and the whole world into existence, you are a microcosm thinking your world, your reality into existence. You see this now? Everything is a reflection. Everything is a mirror. Everything is fractal. So in order for you to change your reality, you must change these higher planes. Your thought and imagination are the two key aspects of creating physical reality. Every object you see around you was begun in these higher planes of the non-physical, and they were brought out of spirit into physical matter through the thinking mind and physical action. So now we're going to get a bit deeper. The brain is not the mind. Now that you understand, we have spirit and matter. As above, so below. You have a non-physical side of reality and a physical side of reality. The mind is the spiritual brain. The brain is a physical manifestation, a physical effect of the mind. The mind uses the brain to operate in the physical world. And it's the same with the heart. The soul manifests itself physically through the heart. The heart is a physical manifestation of the soul, of the emotion, thought and emotion, the mind and the soul, the brain and the heart, heaven and earth. So you have the inner world and the outer world, the spiritual, non-physical, and the physical. So we are all on this process of awakening, an expansion of our minds into new fields of thought, into new fields of awakening ourselves. Because essentially we are born into this world. But you are born many, many times. You can be born physically and you can be born spiritually. Like I said, everything is fractal. So just like when the baby finds out that there is a world outside of its mother, what does the baby do? The baby seeks a way out of its mother, and then the baby is now born into a new world, a world outside of its mother's womb. It's the same with you and your spiritual process. As your mind becomes aware that there are other realities beyond your physical body, it then seeks a way out. And this is why you are probably watching my YouTube, because you are now on the path. Something within you has guided you to this path of knowledge, truth, enlightenment, and expanding your consciousness. And it is your soul who brought you here. Your soul speaks through emotion, like guidance. Emotion is the language of the soul. When you feel very bad, this is your soul telling you you're not in the right place. You're doing the wrong things. Because the soul is always unfolding its purpose, which is expansion and learning. That is it. The mastery of the self and the learning of the mind is the only thing that counts in the end after this life. So you are on a journey of expansion, of learning, creating, and spiritual rebirth. As above, so below. What does this body tell you? When I see someone overweight, I don't see the overweight. I don't see the body. I see the mind. I see an undisciplined mind. I see a mind that lacks self-control. I see a mind that seeks external validation. That's what I see when I see an overweight person. I don't see his body. I see the result of his mind. Because what does the Bible tell you? You shall know them by their fruits. It's the same saying as above, so below. You shall know them by their fruit. The fruit is their manifestation. Your body is a direct correlation and manifestation of your mind. Your inner world projects your outer world. As within, so without. As above, so below. Now, what do you see when you see this man's body? I see discipline. I see strength, mental strength, not physical strength. I see mental resilience of pain. Because all of this man's mental energy has been manifested physically within his muscle. This body is a direct manifestation of this man's mind's pain and suffering. And it shows discipline. This is why people instantly respect you if you are in shape. You walk into a room and you are in shape, people will instantly give you respect because they know that you are mentally disciplined. The body is a reflection of your inner world, and it's the same with your friends, your family, your connections with people. If you think about yourself very negatively all the time, and you don't have a good connection with yourself, you don't have a connection with your true self, this will manifest into every single relationship you have in your life. If you don't have a good relationship with your inner self, you don't have a good relationship with the people and the friends around you. Because as within, so without. If you think negative about yourself, you will only pick up the negative in other people. If I think very highly of myself and I think very happy and good things about myself, I will then see the good things in other people. Because it's as above, so below. As the inner world is, so is the outer world. It's the same with your life circumstances. Your life is a direct correlation of every thought you thought in the past. If you possess millions of pounds, millions of dollars, this is because you have thought this into physical reality. You live the life you are deserved. You live the life that you manifest through your thought. If you live a very poor life, this is a reflection of your mind. This is a reflection of what you have thought into physical existence. Because like I said, everything begins in the mind, as above, so below. And this is even present within the body. So where is the head? The head is at the very top of the body. And where does all manifestation begin? In the mind. That's where the mind is, in the head. And then the thoughts we think travel down the body into the heart, which is the emotion. Every thought we think is in the emotion. Every thought we think creates an emotion. This emotion then drives the action. Where does the action come from? The feet, because the feet move our body. We move with our feet to take action. Our hands. You see, so the body is even a micro reflection. I can't even say it. Reflection of the order of manifestation. This blew my mind when I figured this out. You see, the head, the thoughts begin here. This is the beginning of all manifestation. Then it comes down to the heart. This is the emotion. Then you take the action. The thought and emotion then sparks the action, which is taken with the hands and the feet. And where's the lowest point on the body? The feet, and that's touching the physical earth. So the head is where the thought is, the non-physical, and the lowest point on the body, which is touching the physical earth. So the head represents spirit, the feet represent matter, spirit and matter. Your room, if I walk into your room and I see a messy room, I don't see the room, I see a messy mind. The room is a reflection of the mind. If you have a messy room, this is your mind. It's an externalization of your unsorted mind, undisciplined mind. So like I said, we are all God, and we must find the God self within us. And I teach all of this inside the Book of Wisdom, Volume 2. This is not just a book, this is a revolution. This is the beginning of a new age with this book. If you have read it, I congratulate you. You should feel very proud of yourself if you have an open mind. You should feel proud of yourself for watching these videos, because not many people have an open mind. Remember this, people. You are special if you're watching these videos. You have the mind. You have the ability to see through the illusion. And I take my hat off to you. You want to take this to the next step? Read the book. Or if you want to take it to the serious levels, join the university. The university, you gain access to every piece of my material that I've ever done, all of my books, all of my lectures that are hidden from YouTube, that are hidden from everywhere else, the lectures that give you real power. And if you feel alone on this journey, we have a conscious community where you can connect with like-minded individuals, because I've been there. I've been there when you feel lonely because you feel like no one else is thinking the way you are feeling. You can't talk to people about these things because people just think you're crazy. That's why I put together this, so we can connect, so we can unite, so you can connect with people, so you don't feel crazy about thinking about this stuff, learning about this stuff. And if you truly, truly want to level up your life, people, and take your studies serious, this is for you. We do live calls, we do lectures. There's a whole library filled with books you can read. It's the perfect place for the truth seeker. I thank you all for joining. Please leave a like, a comment, a subscribe. Let me know any future videos you want me to make in the comments. Thank you all. Have an amazing day. Hello, Seeker. Welcome to Revival of Symbolism, a channel devoted to the language of esoteric symbolism, helping you discover yourself and expand your consciousness into new realms of thought. I'm Harry B. Joseph, also known as Revival of Wisdom. In this video, we're going to be breaking down the occult and esoteric meaning of the tarot card, the Magician. This contains many layers of symbolism. Let's get straight into this. So if we look at the card of the Magician, the first thing we notice is this gesture, his hands. We have one hand up, one hand down. This corresponds to the teaching and the principle of the universe called the law of correspondence, also known as above, so below. As above, so below pretty much corresponds with everything in the whole world and life. Everything functions underneath this law. It teaches that everything below in the material plane does not exist on its own. Physical life does not create itself. It is not independent. It cannot sustain itself. Everything below in the material plane has its spiritual counterpart within the heavenly realms of higher consciousness dimensions. Everything above manifests that which is below. It's simply representing how reality is dual and you are dual. You have a self outside the mind, which is the physical body, and a self inside the mind, the spiritual self. While most people are fixated on the external self, the physical body, they never give attention to their internal self, the self inside the mind. The self inside the mind is limitless, has infinite potential, and is not bound to any true form or identity. The internal self is the immortal self, the higher self. It is the self that can turn anything, any thought, into a form within the realm of imagination. This is what we call the astral plane. The astral plane being a plane or a dimension that sits just above the physical plane, and it's the realm of imagination, emotion, and desire. Because in order for us to imagine something, we have some sort of emotion or desire to create it. Therefore, it is the astral energy, the desire and the imagination of something above in the higher realms and dimensions of consciousness that make it possible and physically created within the material realm. It is the astral forces of desire manifesting the actions of the physical body, because the physical body only moves to what we care about or we have a passion or desire. These forces, what we call passion and desire, are not just chemical reactions in your body. They are astral forces directly coming from your astral body. We think with thought. This is the beginning of all creation. We think, we imagine, we desire, then we act. It is the higher realms first, then the external realm, the material. Higher dimensions over the lower dimensions. This fits in perfect with the magician, because a magician is not someone, like Harry Potter shows you with wands casting spells. This is fantasy. The real magic is about changing consciousness at will, because consciousness above creates that which is below, the material. As within, so without. Reality is created from the inside out. So the magician understands that by changing consciousness, we change our external circumstances. You see this reflected in your life, and I've seen this reflected in my life. When you change your consciousness, for example, you start to spiritually awaken. You start to think differently, see the world differently. What happens to your external reality? Notice your friends start to say you've changed. You may not fit in with your current friendship circle. Your friends will change and you will outgrow them, and you will have to seek to find new friends that fit with your new internal state of consciousness. This is teaching that the internal world rearranges the external world. While most people stay in a cycle of trying to change the external world, not realizing that they must first change the internal. This is what magic is about. Magic is about changing consciousness at will. Because when a magician holds the ability to direct all forces of their consciousness to a specific reality within them, to create that form and reality within the internal self, they can actually start to produce change in the external reality. We have masculine forces of consciousness, feminine forces of consciousness. The feminine forces of consciousness are imagination, intuition, emotion. The active masculine forces of consciousness are willpower, actions, and intellect, thinking. When we combine the imagination, seeing the reality within our mind, forming the reality within our spiritual vision, the internal vision of the soul, because imagination is the expression of the soul. It is creating with astral light, astral vision. Freemasons, occultists call imagination spirit vision. When we see that reality with our spiritual vision, this is why we have to increase our ability to vividly see within our imagination or the astral plane. If we do not develop these faculties of consciousness, we will struggle. This is what the esoteric is about. We have to increase and develop every part of our consciousness to develop spiritually, to try and reconnect with the internal world, while our whole past life we've been focusing on the external. When we combine the soul's vision of imagination with a feeling and a desire of creating that reality, that's then the internal world pretty much sorted. Then we have to combine that with willpower and actions. The masculine and feminine come together to give birth to a child. The masculine and feminine come together in your consciousness to give birth to a reality. It's about changing what's inside the self to produce change below. This is what true magic is. Look at the word magic, magi, and the word imagination, imagination. Imagination is about working with the forces of the soul and the forces of consciousness, producing change in consciousness at will to produce change in the external. This is what this represents. Changing above so we can change below. No point trying to change the external world, because the external world is already formed. It is a form, it is an effect. So to produce true change in the external world that lasts long term, we must first gain control over ourselves. We produce change internally. This is why the magician is called to gain mastery in every element of their being. They have to gain control over every aspect of consciousness and develop every faculty of the soul. This includes developing strong imagination, developing a very strong willpower. We can do this through exercises such as imagination exercises, holding one specific vision for a long period of time, meditation, thinking on one specific thing for a very long period of time. This will increase the willpower. It's also about gaining control over the subconscious impulses, the subconscious thinking patterns that seek to control us. It's about gaining control over every aspect of our consciousness. This is what a true magician is. And this is what the true spiritual path is. Developing every faculty of consciousness. It's a never-ending journey of self-mastery. If we look at the magician, we see this infinity symbol rising just above his head, symbolizing the mind being filled with higher knowledge, the mind aware of higher dimensions. You see, the mind is the cause, physical reality is the effect. We need to raise our consciousness from effect consciousness to causal consciousness to truly become a magician and a master of our reality. What do I mean by effect consciousness? Most people live in the realm of effect and reaction. Their consciousness, their mind, emotions, and imaginations are constantly thinking, feeling, and imagining the things that have happened to them. Instead of doing this, we need to change this state. Instead of reacting, we need to become the cause. Instead of thinking and imagining and feeling the realities that's already gone past and things that have happened to us, we need to change this so we use the powers of the soul, the powers of consciousness as imagination, emotion, the intellect, as causes and not reactions. This is how we truly become a magician and apply this principle of as above, so below. We need to think, feel, act, imagine, and use all the faculties of consciousness and the creative powers of the soul to cause things, to create a better future, to imagine a better outcome, instead of dwelling in reactivity, because reactivity will create a constant cycle of negative manifestations. If we sit around and moan, complain, think, imagine, feel the things that have happened to us in the past, the mind is the cause. And if the mind is in that state of reactivity, it's just going to constantly create more negativity in your external reality. This is what it's all about, as above, so below. You can see the sword here. The sword cuts through the air. The air is one of the 4 physical elements. Fire represents the spiritual body of consciousness. Water represents the emotional body of consciousness. Earth represents the physical body of consciousness. Air corresponds to the mental body of consciousness. So this sword is a symbol of a sharp mind. The mind needs to become very sharp and very disciplined and very controlled, both consciously and subconsciously. What does this mean? We have to gain control over the mind. We have to become more conscious of the thoughts that are happening inside our mental field, because the mental field of consciousness is pretty much the birth of all creation. We think, imagine, feel, then act. So we must gain a sharp intellect, a sharp mind, a sharp, powerful mind. The sword is also a symbol of power. So this is a symbol of a powerful mind, a mastered mind. This is your sword. This is your tool to create, because you are a co-creator. As above, so below literally tells you that you are God itself. The same powers God used to think everything into existence, such as nature, the stars, the human body, the macrocosm, the world. God thought the world into existence. We live in a mental universe. All creation is first thought, then manifested physically. The same powers of thought God used to create the world is the same power that you use to create your world. You are cut of the same fabric of God. You are a microcosm, as above, so below. God is the macro, you are the micro. What is the wand? The wand is not real. This is not a real wand you cast spells with, but a symbol. The symbol of the wand represents direction of consciousness, willpower, and attention. We have 2 spiritual currencies which pretty much create our experience and reality: time and attention. That's why we say we spend time and I pay attention. These are your currencies. These are how you create and generate reality. Moving on to Jesus and Satan, we see there's an exact same symbolism within the ancient paintings. Jesus pointing up, Satan pointing down. Satan is the egoic force within one's consciousness. He is a symbol. Satan is not a real identity or being or entity. He is a symbol of a personality and a force within one's consciousness. Satan represents the negative forces of the ego that tells you to do things that is wrong. In your heart, you know what is morally right and wrong. Let's say you're thinking, you get a random thought of stealing an old lady's purse. You, in your heart, know that is wrong. But Satan is the force inside of you that says, do it anyway. Don't listen to the heart. Get the personal gain. I want the money. That's Satan. Jesus is the higher mind, the aspect of our consciousness that dwells above the ego. It's the part of our heart that desires the spiritual. Our heart is the generator of our reality. And whatever we desire is what we generate. You only take action and generate your life on what you care about or what you feel. If someone's talking about something you don't care about, you say, oh, I don't care about that. But if you care, you will listen. If you care about something, you take action towards it. If your heart desires the material, you have been taken over by the egoic force of Satan. Not a real entity, a part of your consciousness, a part of your nature, the dark side of yourself. Jesus represents a heart that desires the spiritual wisdom, the things that cannot be seen. The heart must desire the things that can't be seen, because this is what gives true satisfaction to ourselves. We feel void when we chase material things because nothing material can satisfy our hearts. So this is as above, so below. Jesus is the higher mind. Satan is the lower mind. We must place our hearts on the higher things and give our hearts and desires to knowledge, the things that we cannot see, because this is what gives us true fulfillment. We also see this symbolism in the Baphomet, as above, so below. The material realm below and the fire up here. The fire symbolizes spirit, the spiritual made manifest in the physical. This is all the same symbolism. It corresponds to everything. You can use as above, so below to determine truth. If someone tells you something, tries to make you believe it, and it does not correspond with the law of correspondence, then you know it's a lie. You can use as above, so below to manifest things. You can use as above, so below to see the world as a reflection of God. We are in God's kingdom. This is God's world, and you are creating in the world through the same powers of God, thought. You are a small version of God, co-creating a world and reality in earth. You yourself are an earth. Your body's the earth. Your consciousness is God and heaven. So I hope this video helps. The occult goes deeper than you could possibly imagine. If you wish to go even deeper, join our community, Ethereal University. Please leave a like, share, comment on this video for more. In this video, we're going to be talking about the evolution of consciousness. You are born human. However, you possess consciousness, which is the awareness behind your being, the awareness behind your thoughts, the experiencer behind your five senses, the experiencer, the observer behind your thought, emotions, and senses. You are an eye, an invisible consciousness looking through a lens, which is your body. Your body produces this physical world that you experience. Your brain produces this world. Your brain and body is a technological computer. However, you are an infinite, ever-expanding consciousness behind this physical body. And there is an evolution of consciousness, a cosmic journey of expansion. And this is why we see so much pyramid symbolism in the occult and esoteric world, and especially within Freemasonry. Because the pyramid represents climbing, an evolution, a raising state of consciousness, a journey. Steps symbolize a journey upwards. This is the raising and the evolution of consciousness, our inner world, the transmutation of our inner selves, of our souls and consciousness and our minds. So when we see this pyramid, we're seeing a evolution, a way up to source consciousness. And the eye in the pyramid represents your source consciousness. It represents illumination. It represents divine guidance through this evolution of consciousness. This is why we see the ladder. Consciousness is ever expanding on an infinite journey of evolution. Each individual is a part of this cosmic process, contributing towards the ongoing expansion of both mind and awareness. As we evolve, we collectively explore deeper levels of existence, expanding the boundaries of thought and consciousness. The mind has the ability to expand infinitely into new realms of thought, into new dimensions of mind. The mind cannot be filled up. It is not a physical substance. The body can be filled up because it is a physical thing, but you cannot fill the mind. Therefore, the mind is constantly expanding, ever expanding into new fields of thought. So what we see in Freemasonry, the ladder, is again a journey, an elevation of consciousness, When we are born with an infant consciousness, and as we gain older, we gain an adult consciousness. Our inner world, our inner mind, and our emotional intellect changes and evolves. We are significantly different from when we were very young as an infant. It's because our consciousness evolutes, it changes, it alters like water. So, just like this evolution of your own consciousness as growing up, there is consciousness of beings existing in cycles beyond our own. And their consciousness is unimaginably different from ours. They operate on a higher level of understanding and knowing, experiencing reality in ways that transcend our current comprehension. Our minds right now cannot comprehend the highest states of consciousness. There are entities, there are beings beyond our own, existing in higher dimensions of consciousness that we cannot comprehend because they have expanded. They are on a further way up the ladder of consciousness. However, we are all on the same journey. None of us can take the same journey. There is one ultimate goal, reaching source consciousness. However, this is always ever expanding. However, we are all on a different journey. There is one truth, one source, one goal. However, there are billions in different ways of reaching it, and we are all on these different paths to source consciousness, to this ladder, this evolution of universal evolution. Okay? Their awareness is attuned to new dimensions of existence, reflecting a more advanced stage in the cosmic journey of consciousness evolution. So when you take DMT, you are shot into these higher realms of consciousness where you meet these beings who look similar to these images. They are not speaking to you physically. They don't speak to you three-dimensionally through vibration and words. They speak to you mentally. If you have done DMT, then you know this. And if you have met these beings, then you know this. You might have even met some of these types of beings on mushrooms or any psychedelic drugs. Because ultimately, when you take these mind-altering substances, it's altering your consciousness. It's merging your consciousness with the spirit of that substance. And you are essentially attuning your mind to higher dimensions of consciousness. That's why we say we're getting high when we take these substances. Therefore, when you meet these beings on DMT, you are essentially meeting beings who are attuned to higher dimensions of consciousness, and they speak to you mentally. They speak to you telepathically through thought, because the universe is mental. Everything exists within the mind. The way you are now, your physical existence, is a state of mind. Mind, thought creates matter. Spirit and matter are two opposing ways of thinking. If we have a very spiritual mind, we have an expanded mind, we are a spiritual person through the mind. However, if we have a very low state of consciousness where we think about food, sex, lust, and all physical things, then we have a physical consciousness. Matter and spirit are two opposing forces, two ways of thinking. The mind attunes itself to different levels of understanding in different dimensions. So, essentially, this is what we're looking at. The body is a vessel for the fluidic, formless consciousness, a temple that houses the essence of our awareness. While the five senses are limited to perceiving only the physical plane, the mind transcends these limitations, capable of perceiving the full scope of reality. It is through the mind that we access deeper truths beyond the material, tapping into boundless nature of existence. Physical existence is a thin band, a thin layer of reality. It's like 0.001% of reality. And your five senses are only tuned into this layer of reality. But the five senses are, by design, only allowed to perceive physicality. But the mind has the power to expand beyond this physical five sense state. The mind has the power to expand and evolute. It is a conscious decision whether you want to take this path or not. You can stay in a three-dimensional way of thinking, or you can expand your consciousness from within. It's not an external journey. There is no God going to save you. You must save yourself. Therefore, behind every single one of these eyes is the same source consciousness. However, we are all different cells in a different journey. The organs in your body, the cells in your body are all alive. They all possess same consciousness, universal consciousness. However, we are all on a different journey of evolution. As above, so below. As the baby is in the mother's womb, when the baby becomes conscious, there is a world outside of its mother. What does it do? It presses and seeks a way out to be born in the other world outside of its mother. It is the same with your consciousness, your mind. When your mind becomes aware that there is realities beyond the immediate surroundings, it seeks a way out. And this is exactly what I'm doing to you now. I am now expanding your mind and telling you there is other ways of reality. There is other dimensions of consciousness which you can access through inner transmutation, through different ways of thinking, spiritualism, and meditating and connecting with yourself and detaching from external things. We can upgrade our consciousness. Your body is a womb. Why Jesus says you must be born again to see the kingdom of God, because you are born physically and then you must be born again spiritually, awakening your inner consciousness. So like I said, as the baby is in the womb, it's the same principle. As above, so below. You were a baby. You were in your mother's womb and you figured out there is a world outside of your mother. So you seek to weigh out your mother to be born in another world. It's the same now. You must do this now. This is your spiritual evolution. This is the evolution of consciousness. It's ever expanding. When you die, this is a transition. You must learn to not fear death. This is another part of your spiritual journey. You must master death. Therefore, like I said before, the mind has limitless capacity to expand into new realms of thought, continuously exploring uncharted ideas and concepts without boundaries. The mind can ever expand. It can never be filled. It can never ever know everything. There is infinite fields of knowledge, infinite fields of thought. Your current state is just one stage on an infinite pathway. You won't remain human forever. The human experience is a crucial phase where we learn to balance polarities, master the fundamental laws of the cosmos. It is a period of growth and transformation, preparing us for the next stages in our cosmic evolution. The goal is to strive for perfection, yet the true perfection is unattainable. It's like a tunnel, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And as you walk through this tunnel, the light is ever moving backwards. You should forever seek to meet that light, but you will never meet that light because consciousness is ever expanding. You should strive for perfection, yet knowing that perfection is forever unattainable. The journey is endless, with each step revealing deeper layers of understanding and experience. The pursuit of growth and expansion is itself the essence of our evolution. You can find all of this knowledge in the amazing book that I have read for years. I have read this book, The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, by M. Dorial, translated by M. Dorial. I'm telling you now, this book, now that I've told you this, you have some context on the book. The whole book is about evolution of consciousness. He's talking about higher dimensions beings. He's talking about how you can transcend this physical plane. It is truly the most amazing book you will probably read. One of the best spiritual texts you'll see. It's hard to understand. So you must read it over and over again. And the more your mind progresses, like for me, I read this every couple months. And the more I learn about consciousness, the more I expand my own consciousness. And every time I read this book, I pick out something new that just completely blows my mind, because you can only understand this book to your level of consciousness, to your level of understanding. So now that I've told you all this information, go and read this book and it will absolutely blow your mind. And so will the Book of Wisdom Volume 2, which is now available. I released it the other day. I'm just going to read a page out now. This page is called Spirit and Matter. The Earth is not merely a dense, lifeless rock drifting through space. It possesses spirit, a living essence that animates its form. But what do we mean by spirit? Spirit in esoteric terms refers to the energy, the life force, animating the principles infused in matter. So essentially, what this page is talking about is how everything has spirit, consciousness within it. You are the middle, you are spirit and matter. You have the ability to expand your mind to the God self and raise above our animal instinct, our material self, and know the divine and expand. Animals cannot do this. Animals are not self-aware. Humans possess self-awareness. We can observe our consciousness. We can say, why do I exist? We can look in the mirror and know that we need growth. And this is what Anunnaki means. Anu means above. Anu was the supreme god of the sky, which is a metaphor. He represents spirit above, heaven. Anu came down to earth and married Ki, the goddess of the earth, which represents matter. It's a myth, it's an allegory. Anu married Ki and gave birth to the Anunnaki. Spirit came down and infused with matter and gave birth to the human, which is you. You are spirit infused in matter, Anu and Ki, Anunnaki. You are the Anunnaki. And this is just one of the teachings in my book. Honestly, this book is absolutely amazing. If you truly, truly want to expand your consciousness, give this book a read. And obviously, if you're inside the university, I give you this book for free, a paperback version. If you join the university, follow the steps inside of the general chat, you'll be able to download this book, or sorry, not download it, order a paperback for free. All you have to do is pay for the shipping. You'll also gain amazing knowledge inside of my library, where your mind will just be overblown with the amount of esoteric books. There's over 45 rare occult books, plus you get a PDF of the Volume 1 and Human Health Guide. You get reoccurring updates where I expand on symbolism, occultism, where you will just feel absolutely amazing once you understand esotericism in yourself. You'll also learn how to create the dream reality that you want with the Manifestation Mastery course, where I teach you how your consciousness creates reality. You'll have a real lectures where I post lectures on symbolism, occultism, esotericism. There's a conscious community and live calls and Q&A where you can ask me questions and I'll answer your questions. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has joined the university. Thank you for even liking and watching this video. Any support I just appreciate every single one of you. Please, if you can, leave a comment and a like on this video and let me know any videos you want me to make in the future. And I will start uploading a lot more to the YouTube. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in today. Have an amazing day.
Welcome to Revival of Wisdom.
Welcome people. We're back with another video. And this video is about Freemasonry and the connection to the Illuminati. Please, as always, to make sure to hit that like and the subscribe button and turn on the notifications to never miss a video. On May the 1st, 1776, the founder of the Illuminati, Adam Weishaupt, founded this secret organization, and this date can be found in Roman numerals underneath the all-seeing eye pyramid on the $1 bill. This $1 bill also says Anu Coptus Novus Ordo Secularum. This is Latin for announcing the birth of the New World Order.
This New World Order will be headed by Lucifer, the all-seeing eye, and followed by the 13 layers of bricks for the 13 elite bloodlines. So your Orsini's, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Soroses, and the other 9 elite families. So when Adam Weishaupt created the Illuminati, he made it consisting of high-level degree Masons, French and Latin philosophers, and many more powerful people to all become one society. So this is why you see Masons using the same symbol of the all-seeing eye inside the pyramid. But not all Freemasons are part of this Illuminati secret society. As the 33rd degree Freemason Manly P. Hall said in his book The Secret Teachings of All Ages, Freemasonry is a fraternity within a fraternity, an outer organization concealing an inner brotherhood of the elect. So what he's saying here is that Freemasons have to go up the degrees of Freemasonry, and once they hit the top, they either get elected or not into these secret societies like the Illuminati, Skull and Bones, and Knights Templar. So when you see celebrities doing this one-eye symbolism, either covering one eye, doing the triangle, or doing 666 over one eye, this is showing and reflecting the symbolism of Freemasonry. They have taken the oath to never speak on anything they learn about Freemasonry. Duncan's Ritual of Freemasonry book states the oath they have to take. Quote, I ... of my own free will and accord, that I will hail, ever conceal, and never reveal any of the secrets, arts, points of Master Mason's degree to any person whomsoever. All this most solemnly, sincerely promise and swear. Now, this is what happens when they break the oath, stated in this book, quote, myself severed in two, my bowels taken from thence, and burnt to ashes. So this states that Freemasonry comes first, before any law of the land. It has the right to kill you if you break your oath. This is the hand gesture they have to do every time they enter the ritual room inside the Masonic lodge. This is the cutthroat symbol, showing you and reminding you of the oath and what will happen if you break it. Now in this book, Richardson's Monitor of Freemasonry, it states, if you break your oath, binding myself under no less penalty than to have my throat cut across, my tongue torn out by the roots, and my body buried in the rough sands of the sea. If they do not decide to kill you, this book states this by pointing him out to the world as an unworthy vagabond, by opposing his interest, by dearranging his business. In other words, they have the power to frame you and destroy your reputation to the world, and destroy your business if you break this oath. So yes, they do kill to keep this truth hidden, because this truth of this reality is what keeps them in power. They have the ability to manipulate people, because people do not know what manipulates them. This is why they call themselves the government. They govern the ment, which is the mentality, because the mind is the root cause of reality. They control what you perceive to control what you manifest. By knowing the truth, you are set free, and you no longer need no controller above you. So this is why they are willing to kill and do whatever it takes to keep the truth concealed within these high-level degrees of masonry and these secret societies. However, going back to Manly P. Hall's book, it states, part of the symbols are displayed here to the initiate, but he is intentionally misled by false interpretations. So this is saying even Freemasons are intentionally misled and told lies to conceal the truth. to make sure the truth is hidden in the high degrees of masonry. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you all for tapping in. Please leave a like and a subscribe. God bless.
What if dreams aren't random at all, but messages from a deeper part of yourself, trying to show you things? In this video, you're going to learn exactly what dreams are from an esoteric view, how to control dreams, and how to dream more frequently. Dreams are not nonsense. They are expressions of the subconscious mind. In the daytime, we're using our conscious mind, what we are aware of. This represents the daytime, the sun, the external world. We're operating in the external, outside the body in the day. But when we go to sleep, we return inward. Everything does this breath. We breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Everything does this in and out process in the universe. We live, we die every single day. We wake up, we express things in the external. Then at nighttime, we return back to darkness, back to the internal. This is the breath of the universe. We have summer, we have winter. This is the breath of the sun and the seasons with the earth. You have an internal world and an external world. External is physical, the internal is spiritual. Like I said, when we go to sleep, we are returning back to the internal world of your own consciousness and subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind holds everything about you, your memories, your traumas, everything you've ever learnt, your language, your name, your job, everything you identify with is stored within this vast network of the subconscious mind. It is your own personal consciousness. Therefore, when we dream, we return back to the subconscious mind, and we are in fact thinking, but in a subconscious way. The subconscious does not speak the same language as the conscious mind. The conscious mind uses language, thoughts, and all things that are very logical and very easy to understand. The subconscious is the complete opposite. It is very indirect, metaphorical, and symbolic. The subconscious communicates and works in symbols. Ultimately, symbolism is the language of consciousness. This is why in occultism and esotericism, it is filled with occult symbols, because symbols are used to communicate directly with the consciousness within, the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is ultimately connected to the collective consciousness. We are all connected and tapping into the mental plane, where we receive thoughts, ideas, depending on what we attune our mind to. That's why we call it a mindset. But getting back on topic, the subconscious mind is your own personal network. It is like a net, an interconnected web of your thoughts, memories, traumas, emotional blockages, and all the things you identify with and have experienced in your life is stored within this network. It can be seen as a web. One example of the subconscious mind using symbolism is this next story I can tell you. Let's say I was in a very traumatic car crash as a young child. I experienced a lot of emotional trauma in that car, and that deeply impressed my subconscious mind with that trauma of emotion that I felt. Therefore, every time I see a car in my external world, that car is now a symbol that represents the state of consciousness I was feeling in that particular time of the traumatic car crash. The car is a symbol for a state of consciousness within my subconscious mind. Just like when you see a word, that word triggers what you believe that word to be in your subconscious mind. Symbols are the language of the subconsciousness. Therefore, when we dream, we are basically seeing symbols of our own personal subconscious mind. Our higher mind, which is basically our subconscious, the higher version of you that exists beyond your human thinking mind, communicates using symbolism. The higher mind does not speak human thoughts, human language. It speaks the language of symbolism. Therefore, when we dream, every event, every person, everything that happens, and everything you see is your own personal subconscious mind materializing within the plane of the astral plane. This is a dimension that sits just above the physical world that everything is pulled out of. For example, look around you. Everything you see around you was thought, then imagined. Imagination is the astral plane, and this astral plane sits above the physical world. As above, so below. These objects were thought, imagined within someone's mind, and then pulled into a physical reality. Therefore, the imagination is what you're experiencing within a dream. It is your subconscious mind thinking and materializing within the imaginative plane.
For example, let's say you are a Christian, you believe in Jesus your whole life, you have lots of emotion towards Jesus. This deeply impresses your subconscious mind. You believe in him so much, you go to sleep, you have a dream that you meet Jesus. You did not meet directly with Jesus. You met with your own belief. It was your own belief materializing within the imaginative plane and revealing itself to you. Dreams are materializations of your memories, your subconscious beliefs, traumas, and anything that could be inside the subconscious mind. It is your subconsciousness revealing itself to you in a material form. Let's say you have a nightmare. There is a big dark figure chasing you and you are running away in fear, away from this dark figure chasing you. That dark figure is not an external entity. It is not a spirit or a jinn or a demon. It is in fact an aspect of your own mind. It is a symbol that represents maybe a fear, a trauma, or something you are running away from internally, inside your subconscious mind. Something that you are not addressing, but something that is fearful, something that can be controlling you on a subconscious level. Let's say you have a fear to address something in your personal life. You want to address someone who is getting on your nerves at work. You continuously put this off and you fear doing that situation. Over a long period of time, this can slowly control you subconsciously. You start to avoid the person, avoid any contact. It is subconsciously controlling you. This is not the best example, but you can see what I mean. Hidden fears and traumas in the subconscious mind can subconsciously control your actions and ultimately lead you to low states of consciousness, keep you from reaching your higher potential, and ultimately create blockages within your own consciousness. That figure in the dream is a materialization of something that you are fearing and running away from and not addressing. This is why people always have dreams of traumas that they have experienced as a child or when they were younger, or maybe from a year ago or two. It's because that emotion is deeply impressed in the subconscious, and the subconscious is always trying to reveal things to you, communicate to you that you need to change, purify, and maybe heal within your own consciousness. This is how the higher self communicates to you, through the language of symbolism. Once you understand this, dreams can become a very powerful tool, not just entertainment at nighttime. Your consciousness never rests. Your consciousness is eternal. It is the very spark of the divine. Your body needs rest. Your consciousness is not physical. It does not need rest. So this is a way you can identify what your dreams are trying to show you, is by writing them down. A dream journal. Every single dream that you have a book placed near your bed. Every time you wake up, first thing you should do is pick up the book and write every single detail that you can remember about the dream. The people that you met are all symbols or aspects of yourself. Maybe it is a friend you saw in your dream. That friend represents a state of consciousness that is within you and is trying to reveal something to you. It's about making the subconscious into the conscious, to become conscious of the unknown. Write down every detail, everything you saw, every event that played out, even the details of the clothes that they were wearing. Everything is symbolic within dreams. Write everything down and then analyze the dream. Don't analyze it from a logical mind. Analyze it with the right hemisphere of the brain, which allows you to see metaphors, read between the line. Try and gain the message that it's trying to show you. What does this overall mean to you? And what could this reveal about aspects of yourself that you need to heal or maybe take action in your life and world? Because your higher self is always guiding you towards awakening and fulfilling your mission in the manifested physical world. Dreams speak in symbols, not logic. Ask about your dreams. What is this trying to tell me? Don't take things literally. Look for an emotional tone and symbolic resonance. With practice, you'll begin to understand the personal language of your subconscious mind. Now that you understand that, again, please leave a like or a comment on this video. This is now a technique for lucid dreaming and dreaming more often. This is not going to happen overnight. This is not an easy method. It simply takes practice and dedication. Every morning, choose 3 time slots. For me, I choose 4:30, 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. 3 alarms that are going to go off at these 3 times, half an hour apart from each other. Each time you wake up, stay awake for 5 to 10 minutes. Turn off the alarm. Try and keep your conscious mind awake, but drift back into sleep. There's no other better way for me to explain that. It's very difficult, but try and keep the mind awake, but the body falling back asleep. More than likely, you will drift off back to sleep. Then the next alarm will go off half an hour after. This will wake you up again, guaranteed. You will probably drift back to sleep by repeating this process. After the 3 alarms go off, each one of them times, you're either going to have a dream or a lucid dream, but definitely you will have a dream. And if it doesn't work one time, keep trying it. I've been using this method for a very long time, and I can tell you 70-80% of the time it triggers a dream, and a very vivid dream. And it's ideal for lucid dreaming because keeping the conscious mind awake while letting the body fall asleep, you can become conscious within these subconscious realms of your mind. But when you are conscious inside the dream world, you can do what you want, but you also want to let the dream naturally unfold. If you try and take too much control, then you will wake back up. If you feel any fear in your dream, you will wake back up into the material world. Another tip to dream more often is to meditate before bed. Simply close your eyes and think about nothing for 5 to 30 minutes. Detach from everything outside you, your name, your job, work, thoughts. Mentally detach from the world and the physical pleasures and become pure awareness before you try and go to sleep. This will help you become conscious while being within the self. If you wish to learn more about consciousness yourself, the Book of Wisdom Volume 2 can definitely help you. I'll leave a link in the description. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Neo is plugged into the matrix on the back of his neck. And if we look at the human brain, the back of the neck is the reptilian brain stem. And when one operates their life out of the reptilian brain stem, they are unaware, unconscious. They are consciously dead because the reptilian brain does not really critically think. It acts on instinct, fight or flight mode. This is considered in the occult spiritually dead. When one is taking actions without intention, simply very reactive to life. They're not living, they're simply experiencing. When you're walking down the street and you see someone, and in your mind you think me versus them versus me, that is an animalistic way of thinking. I used to be trapped in this way of thinking, always thinking of fight or flight, always judging people, always reacting to the world, never consciously creating and commanding with intention in the world. This could be considered the matrix, when one lives unconsciously, simply surviving in the world. Another symptom of living in the reptilian brain could be obsession, a constant need to assert your power over others to feel safe or superior. Views relationships as power hierarchies, not as mutual connections. It could be a conquest for sex, lust, seeking validation through sexual activity. Sex becomes a tool for dominance, escape, and self-worth. Intimacy is avoided. Pleasure is pursued without emotional depth. Seeking pleasure all the time. This is all to do with the reptilian brain. Seeking safety. It could be compulsive eating or food hoarding, driven by craving and not actual hunger. Eat to soothe fear or emotional discomfort, often unconsciously. This is the unconscious. Fear-based decision-making. Every choice is shaped by perceived threat or insecurity or fear within the subconscious mind. Long-term vision is sacrificed for immediate safety and gratification. All the reptilian brain. Territorial behavior overacts when personal space, possessions, or status is threatened. Acts as though survival depends on ownership or status. Addiction repeats patterns to feel safe, even if they are harmful. Avoids anything unfamiliar or unpredictable. Low empathy. No empathy or emotional care for one another and for fellow beings in the world. Sees people as threats, tools, or competitors. This is all to do with the reptilian brain. Intense jealousy or possessiveness. Sees others as rivals or objects to control. Cannot tolerate perceived threats to loyalty or status. Quick to be angry. Slow to reflect. Reacts with rage, withdrawal when challenged. Lacks emotional regulation or deep self-awareness. So this is considered, this brain could be considered the matrix, hence why Neo is plugged into this brain. He's operating the life out of this brain, unconscious, simply navigating life like an animal. I was in this state, and you can only really realize this when you come out of this brain and you start to function from the higher regions of the brain, which we will discuss very soon. And my life was chaos because there was chaos operating internally. I was never thinking about the future. I was always operating life out of fear, out of lack. Never had care for another person. When you operate life out of this brain, the matrix, things outside you, can easily control you. This is why they keep us in a constant state of fear. So we operate life out of this. So we never gain full control over our
reality, over our actions, over our thoughts. So Neo is called Neo, and he works at a place called meta cortex, very symbolic of the neocortex, the higher region of the brain. Now, this brain makes you human. It ultimately allows you to hold control over the animal urges, okay? The neocortex is the brain that allows you to have self-mastery, that allows you to control your urges, your instinctual survival urges. So humans can overcome their reptilian animalistic state and start to operate their life in a conscious mastery state. And Neo is plugged out of the reptilian brain, and he starts to use his neocortex, the human brain. This allows one to learn to have self-control, allows one to create, allows one to think about others. It allows one to critically think deeply. It allows one to be self-aware. Who am I? Where did I come from? And where am I going? This is ultimately the brain that has shaped the world. We look at humans. We built technology. We built all of these amazing things. They all come from the neocortex. This is the higher region of the brain that allows consciousness to function on a higher degree. It allows you to truly become a creator and have self-control instead of living in a reactive animal state. You see, animals are only aware of their five senses. They're only aware of surviving. If you notice, look at animals, they're always looking around. Even in their home, they're always looking around, sniffing around. That's because they operate in an animalistic brain. Humans have the neocortex. This is a higher region of the brain, which if you wish to master yourself, this is the brain that you will be using. This allows you to operate life on a higher degree. We see this reptilian brain symbolized everywhere. See it as reptiles. Reptiles are symbols of this brain. We see the Egyptian god Osiris with the green skin representing a reptile, a crocodile. Sometimes we see Osiris depicted in Egyptian artwork with crocodiles or reptiles, if you do a little bit of research on that. And also, if we look at the overall symbolism of Osiris and his story, we notice that he is the god of the dead or the underworld. This is not literal, but the dead or the god of the death, the god of the death of self, the dead of consciousness, because you are a divine being with limitless potential to create. And ultimately, to create, we have to master our reptilian brain. But when we function from this reptilian brain, we are dead to our higher powers of creation, of imagination, of actually gaining control and operating life from the higher mind, operating life as the divine being as you are. But if you operate life in Osiris, he is the god of dead. You are spiritually and consciously dead. You act unconsciously. You are dead, not physically, but mentally and spiritually. So what we're looking at here in the Egyptian artwork is the reptilian brainstem. We have the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of the brain. Notice a curve. The feminine body is very curvy. This represents feminine. The masculine body is very liney. So if we study geometry, we know that lines are masculine, hence why the word masculine, line, and the feminine body is, in geometry, feminine is represented as curves. So this is the left masculine brain on the left side, and this is the right feminine brain on the right side, with Osiris, the reptilian brainstem, in the middle. So we're going to go deeper into some Mesopotamian artwork now. Now let's have a look at this. We're looking at the reptile on the very bottom. We see the left brain and the right brain, the Eye of Ra and the Eye of Horus on the left and right. In Freemasonry, we still see the symbolism of the two pillars. Yakin and Boaz in Freemasonry, with the two pillars symbolizing masculine, feminine forces of consciousness, also representing the masculine left brain and the feminine right brain, with the reptile down here. But if we have a little look here, right, we have a little look at these reptiles. This person is standing on top of the reptiles. When you are on top of something, you have power over the below. You are standing atop of something. You have mastery over it. You have control over it, symbolizing gaining control over the reptilian brain, the reactive actions, the sexual urges, the addictions, the territorial behavior, the fear-based decisions, constant internal tension, never being able to focus. It's symbolizing gaining control control over these internal qualities that happen within us, in our mind, because the universe is mental. And if we do not gain control over this brain, it will dominate our mind, which will ultimately dominate our actions and destroy our life and live in an unconscious state. So this is basically instructions in this ancient Mesopotamian artwork of becoming self-mastery, to operate on a God consciousness level. So we have a person symbolizing your awareness, the internal you, having mastery over the reptilian urges, the reptilian brain, the reptile thinking. We have a person, a face in between, and it's standing in between these pillars symbolizing balance of the brain hemispheres. Because the face, we see the eyes in the middle, we see the person is you, your consciousness, standing in the middle pillar. It's representing seeing reality as neutral. Everything in the world is neutral. It's the mind's perception that gives it a positive or negative charge.